The February 20th, 2014 regular town board meeting will please come to order. If we could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilwoman Barnum.
Present.
Councilman Perdicone.
Here.
Councilman Seeley.
Here.
Councilwoman Scrobach.
Here.
Supervisor Bello.
Here.
And attorney for the town.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The first order of business today is something that one of the things I enjoy the most about being supervisor is when we get to swear in new police officers. Today, we take in Irondequoit a great deal of pride in our police department because we have a philosophy here that, Irondequoit's motto is a town for a lifetime. And in order to make that happen, in order to make it possible to attract new families, new businesses, and really make Irondequoit a place for residents from the time they're young to be able to grow old in town and live with their families, there's a few things we need to do. And the first thing we need to do is protect our residents. Protect our residents, protect our businesses, and that's really what's going to make our town prosper and grow. And so tonight we're actually joined by a new police officer, Joseph Shevlin, who we're going to swear in. I think he's got some family members here as well, so it's a real exciting day. And we're joined by a number of members from our police department as well. So I want to welcome everybody, welcome the family, and actually ask the police chief and Officer Shevlin to come forward.
If we could have Joe's family come up as well, that would be wonderful. Just by way of introduction, Officer Shevlin has just recently graduated from the Monroe County Public Safety Training Facility in recruit class number 56. He was awarded the Defensive Tactics Award for that class and was honored at his graduation ceremony, which a number of us had the opportunity to attend. He's earned an associate's degree from Monroe Community College and a bachelor's degree from SUNY Brockport. He was previously employed by the Monroe Community College Public Safety Department and comes to us now as a newly hired police officer who has successfully completed his training and is now assigned to the 1st Platoon. So this may be one of the few times you see him because he'll be working from 9:45 p.m. until 5:45 a.m.
Yeah, we won't see him.
I hope not, anyway.
I will.
Yes. Oh, yeah, so people can hear. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you, Chief. Okay. Repeat after me. I, Joseph Shevlin,
I, Joseph Shevlin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will defend the Constitution of the State of New York, of the United States,
that I will defend the Constitution of the United States
and the State of New York.
and the State of New York.
I will enforce all of the laws of the State of New York
I will enforce all the laws of the State of New York
and the town of Irondequoit.
and the town of Irondequoit.
I will fulfill the duties of the rank of police officer
I will fulfill the duties of the rank of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
I will obey all orders,
I will obey all orders,
rules, and regulations
rules, and regulations
of the Irondequoit Police Department.
of the Irondequoit Police Department.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I will serve,
I will serve,
protect, and guide
protect, and guide
the citizens of the town of Irondequoit.
the citizens of the town of Irondequoit.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I was told I needed a speech for tonight. I'm going to speak from the heart. This is a dream come true, and I want to thank Chief Tantillo for giving me this opportunity. And I couldn't be more happier than to become a police officer with the town of Irondequoit. I want to thank my family for being here. They've been a great support group for me in obtaining this goal. The men and women in the back have been a great help in my young career. So thank you. And to the community, I look forward to serving you for the next 20 plus years. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, the next thing I wanted to do is I was going to call upon Councilwoman Skrobach, who wanted to say a few words tonight as well.
Yes, I'd like to preface this by thanking Supervisor Bello for allowing me to make a statement piece in view because we have such a large Ukrainian community, and the recent situation in Ukraine is a true tragedy in itself with the killings and the civil unrest that is ensuing. That is the price Ukrainians are paying in their quest for freedom, democratic values, and humanitarian rights. Irondequoit is home to thousands of Ukrainians, and the board would like to acknowledge the Ukrainian community members who have family and friends in Ukraine, and to extend their support and prayers for a peaceful resolve to these dramatic moments in Ukraine. The facts are, Ukraine is an independent sovereign country that won its independence in 1991. Prior to independence, Ukraine was a Soviet satellite country. Although independent, former Soviet influences remain in government, parliament, building, business, general import-export, and other natural resource businesses. Kyiv is the capital of Ukraine. The population is of 43 million, and the official language of Ukraine is Ukrainian. It is highly rich in natural resources and economically diverse in agriculture, gas, mining, and serves as a direct gas pipeline from Russia through Ukraine to Germany and to Western Europe. Ukrainian people in Ukraine and around the world are proud of their heritage, their language, their culture, and carry with them the natural nationalistic feeling for their homeland. The Ukrainian people have rich culture in literature, arts, and inventions. Ukraine has produced famous poets, singers, artists, and athletes. Ukraine has long struggled in its history for independence, free from foreign influence since the 20th century. The Ukrainian people's determination for democratic values and human rights has always existed. Many have heard of the Maidan, now known as Euromaidan, Independence Square in Kyiv. For years, this square was a neutral cultural gathering place in Kyiv for poets and singers and people to gather for community events. That has changed dramatically. Maidan was the gathering place and still is for the demonstrators who peacefully started to show their support for Ukraine to enter into concrete partnerships with the European Union, recognizing the importance of aligning itself to promote economic cooperation, human rights, democratic values, and the rule of law. The President of Ukraine decided not to honor the potential agreement and decided to align with Russia. This set the premise for further protests. The protesters are not hooligans and they're not criminals. They comprise individuals of all ages and all diverse backgrounds, and citizens who desire freedom for their country with God-given rights. I have been blessed with being born in a country that is built upon democratic values and those God-given rights and freedoms. As an elected official and a proud American Ukrainian, I stand in support of the fellow Ukrainian brothers and sisters who must literally and figuratively fight for their freedom and fight for what their forefathers and mothers had fought for generations. May we all stand and support all countries and peoples who fight for these basic rights, the rights and freedoms we are granted in this great country of America. God bless our America. Our prayers are with the millions of Ukrainians who are struggling in Ukraine, the generations of Ukrainians in America and Canada and the worldwide regions, and their prayers of good guidance and decision-making to our President and the leaders of all nations who support what we know as our human rights and freedoms. Thank you.
Thank you, Irina, and thank you for that expression on behalf of the town board. This is obviously an important issue. We have a rich Ukrainian tradition here in Irondequoit and a Ukrainian population here, and I think that this was an important expression on behalf of the board of support for what the people are going through over there. So thank you for that. I have a couple other announcements that I'd like to make before we get to the business of the meeting. The first one is from the assessor's office. I'd like this to serve as a reminder for people here and for those who are watching at home that March 1st is the deadline for all property tax exemptions. And this includes the Enhanced Star renewal for our senior citizens and then for all first-time applicants for a property exemption. The forms are available in the assessor's office, and you can always call the assessor's office if you have any questions at all about your eligibility, about whether or not you have renewed and you're just not sure if you did it correctly. Please call the assessor's office at 336-6055. This is important because there are no exceptions. March 1st is governed by law, and we can't make exceptions past that date. So this is very critical for people. I know the staff in the assessor's office will be calling some senior citizens and others who need to do renewals who haven't done so yet, but we can't guarantee that we'll reach everybody. So please call Town Hall or stop in if you have any questions at all about that. The other thing I'd like to discuss is that tonight's an exciting night. We're actually taking some steps forward with the construction and building of a new library in town. Last year, residents spoke loud and clear twice that it's time for a new facility, a new state-of-the-art library right here on the Town Hall campus that's going to serve all our residents. And this is a great project. It has a lot of community support. And so we're going to take some steps later on in the meeting to kick off the construction and start making progress on the library. And I know we have some friends from the Irondequoit Library here tonight too, and I'm glad you guys are here. We are having an event next week that I'd like to invite everybody to. Next Tuesday at 7 o'clock here in the Broderick Room, we're going to have a public forum where residents and members of the community are encouraged to come and tell us what you'd like to see in your library. Okay, we've done a lot of question and answers and a lot of forums over the last 12 to 16 months where there's some Q&A back and forth about about the particulars of the library, about the referendum, about the funding and things like that. But now this is your opportunity to come, talk to the town board, talk to the library board, talk to our construction manager, talk to our architect. Tell us what you would like to see in the library. What are your priorities? So this event is going to be, like I said, next Tuesday at 7 o'clock here at the Broderick Room. We encourage everybody to come. Everyone will have an opportunity who'd like to address the board and the construction firms on their priorities. And for those of you who can't make it, your voice can still be heard as well. We've created an email address, yourlibrary@irondequoit.org. yourlibrary@irondequoit.org. So I encourage you to email your thoughts and suggestions so that we can have as much input from the community as possible before we come up with final designs and start breaking ground on the library. Okay. If you have any questions about that at all too, please feel free to call Town Hall and we can give you more details. And Barbara, that's what I have for supervisors' remarks and announcements.
The next is public input.
Okay. We have 4 speakers signed up tonight. The first one is Kelly Adam. Good evening.
My name is Kelly Adam, and I live on Beacon View Court, which is a street that runs along the bottom of Thomas Avenue.
Kelly, just put the mic.
Which is a street that runs along the bottom of Thomas Avenue that backs up to the river. We have been having a problem with the owner of Voyager Marina, who has a commercial property that he has proceeded to completely demolish acres of trees. I have been informed by the town of Arundecoit that it is an E-pod, and he has obtained 0 permits to do this. He has now left a wasteland on the property behind us, to the point of where I used to be able to stand in my backyard and look to the right of my home and not be able to see the bridge. Now I can see the bridge. He has demolished hundreds of trees. We have now debris piles, and the neighborhood, the people who live at the top of our streets, number 10 through about number 110, who have now view of debris piles that are from me to you away and 20 feet tall, or not 20, let's say 10 feet tall. We have no idea if he's going to clean this up. And we also know that this wasn't something that he should have been doing. The street has a history with him as far as poaching trees off of private property belonging to the city of Rochester. He poached the trees to sell to lumber yards, oak trees, and I know they're very valuable. At this point, we have had no answers from the town. We started calling 6 weeks ago asking what was going on. The town informed us that they thought it belonged to the city of Rochester. City of Rochester said, no, it doesn't belong to us. We have made personal inquiries come down to the town as early as 3 weeks ago, and I started last week when he was demolishing the last 50 trees. We really don't know what to do at this point, and how do we handle it at this point? And what are our rights as citizens? Because I did move to Arundecoit for its pristine beauty, and now I'm watching it be bulldozed down around me. And I do want to be here for a lifetime, and I don't feel like I'm being protected.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Adam. And we'll have the appropriate department heads follow up with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. The next speaker is Laura Morrissey.
I'm Laura Morrissey, 187 Spring Valley Drive. Some Arundecoit residents have presented to each one of you a draft of a policy concerning potential applications for rezoning in the town. We feel that we have outlined a common sense, fair, and equitable process for handling rezoning applications, with the goals of maintaining harmony and protecting the character of neighborhoods while still allowing for sensible development. I urge all of you to give very serious consideration to this document which you have received and to act in accordance with those principles. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker signed up is Ron Rigby.
Ron Rigby, 38 Glen Hollow. Good evening, board members.
Good evening.
Welcome to spring. In 2012, an RFP, request for proposal, was prepared by the town engineer, Larry Heininger, and sent to Labella Associates to review a change to town code from R1 to R7. Labella was to take an unbiased approach to this issue without knowledge of what parcel or parcels were involved. It's hard to believe that Labella did not know the area in question actually belonged to Mark IV Enterprises. At the same time, a report was submitted by Chris Mago, an independent planning consultant with a master's degree in planning and over 35 years of professional planning. He was requested by the organization Protecting Arundecoit Residential Areas to help them analyze the zoning, land use, and seeker issues relative to Mark IV's application and present his comments to the town and planning boards. With the town and planning boards never commented on Chris Mago's findings, it's a concern that the Labella report was going to be the official report in the town's final analysis of rezoning as requested and paid for by the town. The Labella report also recommended to eliminate consideration of EPADs in the calculation of density. The Conservation Board would never recommend eliminating EPADs from this calculation. The last thing our highly developed community needs is for officials to hire professionals for the purpose of promoting a certain agenda. There are methods of establishing consensus and building support for projects that involve carefully considered, less intrusive alternatives. Concerned citizens throughout the community are eager to participate in moving forward by consensus as opposed to the conflicts that always originate from the actions of officials. Thank you, and good night.
Great. Thank you. And the last speaker signed up is Teresa Corrigan-Bastick.
Read the writing. Therese Corrigan-Bastick, 125 Eastman Estates. Good evening, Supervisor Bello and town board members.
Good evening.
And congratulations to those who were recently elected. I wish you much success in your new roles. In recent weeks, concerned Irondequoit citizens submitted a draft policy to the town board to define a process to accept applications for rezoning. The objective of the policy is to provide a nonpartisan approach for evaluating rezoning applications before they are formally accepted. Implementation of the policy suggests a process to be followed prior to any rezoning application being accepted by the town board for consideration. This would ensure resident input is obtained early in the process and will provide a fail-safe mechanism for avoiding potential legal issues if an application is accepted and then rejected. It would also help prevent conflicts between the residents and town board. The draft policy is merely a process, not a law, not a code, a process to help define how fair and open decisions should be made on behalf of stakeholders. This draft policy is important as it reinforces the following. There is no right to rezoning. There is no right to have an application to rezone accepted and/or acted upon. Zoning laws are in place to protect residents, neighborhoods, and communities. I really want to applaud the residents who spent the time to author this policy with the intent of improving Irondequoit's rezoning process. Excuse me. Something in the process is flawed when you have a 100-plus commercial apartment complex voted down by one town board, only to have another town board 5 years later accept an application from the same developer for the same project, despite thousands of signatures collected by residents opposing the development. No resident and no developer should have to go through another Mark IV legacy saga. This proposed process promotes communication so that key residential input is heard. If we can agree on terminology at the outset, it would greatly reduce conflict. For instance, some considered the legacy to be a residential project, not commercial. Since Mark IV received Comida assistance and a $10 million tax break on its legacy at Cranbrook project, it's hard to defend an apartment complex as anything but commercial. But a good process will allow both the town and residents to help educate each other. We believe this policy is very timely as the town starts to reorganize its planning, zoning, and developmental departments. We look forward to meeting you soon to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you. Were there any other residents here who did not have an opportunity to sign up to speak but would like to address the board? No? Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, the next is financial report.
Please note that the first financial report states tentative before closing 2013 as of January 31st, 2014. After this report, I will provide one more monthly update with tentative 2013 year-end results as of 2/28/2014. That update will be presented along with the February 2014 month-end report. The town's 2013 books will remain open for another month or so for outstanding revenue, bills for services and goods received during the year, and for required closing entries and adjustments. As indicated previously, the updates will allow us to preview the 2013 results throughout the closing process. During the second quarter, the town's auditing firm, Freed Massick CPAs, PC, will perform the annual audit and generate the 2013 financial statements. After completing those processes, a presentation of the town's financial condition will be made to the town board at a mid-year workshop meeting. Highlights of the town's financial status will be shared with the public at a subsequent town board meeting. The tentative 2013 financial results of the town as of January 2014. As of the end of January 2014. Total expenditures are 98.7% of budget, or $30,850,000. That amount includes $239,000 of encumbrances. The general fund expenses remain under budget at 97.8%, or $17,751,000. Contained in that amount are encumbrances of $200,000. Jointly, the expenses in the highway funds are $5,890,000. That's somewhat above budget at 105.6%. Concurrently, the highway revenue is above budget as well at 105.5%. Actual expenditures in the other major funds continue to be lower than budget. The library remains below budget at 96.7%. A total of $1,801,000. Expenses in stormwater drainage are $578,000, which equates to 74.2% of budget. Expenditures in the sewer fund are $3,769,000, 98.5% of budget. The sewer fund expenses spiked this month because they reflect a $500,000 fund balance transfer to the capital projects fund. The fund balance transfer was previously authorized by a town board resolution so as to finance the town's only capital improvement project of 2014, replacement of sewer laterals and mains. The total revenue received in the general fund is $16,991,000, which equates to 94.1% of budget. To date, we have received 100% of real estate tax, pilot, payment in lieu of taxes, and state aid. The mortgage tax on the report of $792,000 represents a full year and equates to 109.2% of budget. Sales tax revenue of $2,299,000 is 73.6% of budget, and that reflects 8 months of activity. Since this report was published, we've received the fourth quarter sales tax payment of $922,000. That revenue puts us $100,000 ahead of budget for that source of revenue, and we still have one more month outstanding. Franchise cable TV revenue of $394,000 is for 6 months, and it equates to 49.3% of revenue. We anticipate receiving another $400,000 in that category. Parks and Recreation is ending the year with 85% of its budgeted revenue. The cemetery is above budget at 126%. Other sources of revenue, which includes property maintenance and cleanup, stands at 113.4% of budget. Property maintenance and cleanup activity for the year is $345,000, and that is 2 times that budget of $170,000. Regarding the entire town, 98.3% of revenue has been received to date. At least 100% of revenue is in for each of the other major funds. The revenue received by the library is 99.7% of budget. The highway has received 105.5%, and 100.4% is in of revenue is in for the sewer fund. So this concludes the financial report of the 2013 preliminary results.
Great.
The second report that you have is for January 2014. Total expenditures and encumbrances are $4,494,000, equating to 14.1% of budget, higher than the 8.3% of the year that has elapsed. The actual expenditures are $2,577,000, and encumbrances are $1,917,000. Encumbrances are typically high early in the year as departments plan and commit to supplies and commodities that they need throughout the year. The general fund expenses are 13.6% of budget, or $2,505,000. Again, that spending level is to be anticipated early in the year. The expenditures break down as follows. Actual expenditures, $1,689,000, and encumbrances, $816,000. Together, the expenses in the highway funds are $1,287,000, 22.6% of budget, above the 8.3% that has elapsed. As expected, each of the highway funds has sizable encumbrances, such as gas and fuel in Highway 1, equipment parts and supplies in Highway 3, and salt in Highway 4. Actual expenditures in the other major funds are relatively close or lower than the 8.3% of the year that has elapsed. The library has expended $180,000, 9.3% of budget. The sewer fund is at 7.6% of budget, which equates to $294,000. Expenses in stormwater drainage total $43,000, 5.4% of that budget. The revenue received in the general fund is $4,266,000, 23.4% of budget. Of that amount, $4.1 million is tax revenue, and $74,000 is pilot revenue, 33% of that budget. Regarding the entire town, $7.6 million, or 24% of revenue, has been received to date. Approximately $6.4 million is real estate tax. The library has received $186,000, or 9.6% of its budgeted revenue. $2.2 million, or 38.6%, is in for the highway and sewer. Is in for the highway, and sewer has 23% of that budget, and that's $884,000. By the end of February, we will have recorded the real estate tax for the funds. So this concludes my financial report for the month of January 2014.
Great, thank you, Annie, and thank you to you and your staff too for the diligence and hard work that goes into these reports.
Thank you.
I know we all appreciate that, and it's a lot of information for people. What's that?
Grandmother.
Yes,
Oh,
and
yes.
Annie, we should recognize that Annie is actually a new grandmother. So, we can say congratulations, Annie, for that as well. Yeah. With that, can I have a motion to approve the financial report?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, approval of minutes. January 9, 2014, the workshop meeting minutes.
Can I have a motion?
Moved.
And a second?
Second.
Are there any discussion or corrections? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
The January 16, 2014, the regular town board meeting.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion, changes? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Items for board action. Item 2A, 2014-1, calling for a public hearing on the matter of granting a special use permit to increase allowed seating at Yoberry Frozen Yogurt Bar located at 2255 East Ridge Road in the Culver Ridge Plaza in a C commercial district. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby schedules a public hearing on March 20th, 2014 at 7:36 p.m.
So moved.
Motion in a second? Second. Great, thank you. This is a procedural motion to schedule a public hearing for a matter that the town board is going to take up at the March town board meeting. So with a motion in a second, any discussion? No? With all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Item 2A 2014-2, calling for a public hearing on the matter of granting special use permits to operate restaurants located at 1495 East Ridge Road in an M manufacturing district. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby schedules a public hearing on March 20th, 2014 at 7:37 p.m.
Okay, with a motion
So moved.
and a second? Okay, this is another a procedural motion to schedule a public hearing on a matter that the town board's going to take up and discuss at next month's town board meeting. Is there any other discussion or questions? No. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Item 2A 2014-3, authorizing the hiring of a deputy town attorney for planning and zoning. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes the supervisor to enter into a contract with Nixon Peabody, LLP, to serve as deputy town attorney for planning and zoning in the town of Arundecoit.
Can I have a motion?
Moved.
And a second? Second. Okay. Before we consider the motion, there was a few remarks that I wanted to make about this particular position. First and foremost, though, I do want to thank the members of the RFP selection committee. This was in order to choose a deputy town attorney, we did go through an exhaustive RFP process, request for proposals, and did some extensive interviews to make sure that the town does receive nothing but the best legal advice in matters before the town. And that committee consisted of myself, Patrick Meredith, Annie Seeley, and Dave Seeley. So I want to thank them for all their hard work and diligence going through the process. The deputy town attorney position is a critical position in our town. This is part of the reorganization of the Development Services Department that we've been working on over the last couple of months. This position provides legal counsel and representation for the planning and zoning boards, including the review of projects and new developments coming into town and their agenda items. The deputy town attorney also represents the town in court proceedings relative to code enforcement matters, which is an important issue in our town, as many people are aware. In selecting Nixon Peabody for this appointment, the selection committee felt very strongly about this selection for a number of reasons. First of all, Nixon Peabody comes to Arundecoit with a very strong background in the seeker process, and the seeker process is an important part whenever you're considering new construction and new buildings, and for many of the matters that come before the Planning and Zoning Department. And so that was a critical function and experience that we wanted in this position. They also have a long history with a variety of municipalities, including towns and counties, governments, experience in coastal zone management issues, and they also share our strong philosophy that documentation and work in the front end of projects and making sure that we're following the correct process, following the letter of the law on the front end will help save problems on the back end. And really help work with our new department and our new staff there to make sure that when developers come to town and there's new businesses looking to develop in town, that we deal with whatever issues there may be relative to planning and zoning and seeker and all those other issues. Those are dealt with up front. That way there's no surprises on the back end. It would help reduce litigation and protect residents as well as businesses, and really make sure that Irondequoit is a place that's open for business and that we can work with new people who want to come in. I do want to recognize Greg Nearpass, who's in the audience here from Nixon. He's going to be the attorney that we're going to be working with from the firm. So with that, was there any other discussion or questions? No? Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Supervisor Bell, before we move on, one thing before we go on, what I wanted to say is I want to thank Dan Arelli, who was our town deputy attorney for the last 4 years. He did a great job for the town board, zoning and planning board, as well as the courts. He showed a lot of professionalism throughout his 4 years serving our town, and I believe that we all wish him well. And thank you, Dan.
Absolutely. Thank you, John. And thank you to Dan as well. And congratulations, Greg. All right.
Item 2A, 2014-4, authorizing the hiring of a provisional office clerk 3 in the Developmental Services Department. Now therefore be it resolved that authorization is given to hire Linda Catlow as a provisional office clerk 3 at an annual salary of $22,500 for 2014 from budget code 001-3620-0100-1100. The resolution shall take effect immediately upon hire date.
Thanks, Barbara. Was there a motion?
Moved.
And a
Second.
second. I'm going to have Nick Weatherby, our Director of Development Services, just give a brief explanation of this position.
Sure. Thank you, Supervisor. And as the Supervisor has mentioned, this is part of the continuing reorganization of the Development Services Department. It really demonstrates the commitment of the town board to increasing the efficiency and responsiveness in the code enforcement portion of the Development Services Department. Again, this is really the department itself, and a lot of what Linda will be working on is a focus on the customer service aspect of when folks interact with the department on a day-to-day basis. So she is a perfect fit for this position. She has a wide range of experience from higher education to the social service sector, so she will be a welcomed addition to our team.
Great. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? I do want to thank Nick and Beth Watrow for their work on this. I know they did a number of interviews, and we do our due diligence before we hire new people here, make sure we have nothing but the best. So thank you guys for your work. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Item 2A, 2014-5, authorizing the appointment of a Deputy Commissioner of Public Works.
Is there a
Now
motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay. And for this resolution, I'm going to ask Pat Meredith, our Commissioner of Public Works, to say a few words.
Good evening. Thank you, Supervisor Bello. Bob Kiley, who's our candidate, comes to us full of energy. I've had the pleasure of knowing him through his work at Monroe County Soil and Water Conservation District. Bob has been our go-to guy for many environmental matters, such as town resident drainage concerns at various locations. Helped us collect data to understand the impact to the stream flowing through the town hall property after the salt barn fire. He was on scene directly after the fire to help us establish barriers to protect the stream from further salt runoff contamination. Bob has a master's in environmental interpretation from SUNY ESF and is a certified professional in erosion and sediment control, and has worked for Monroe County for 5 years. Bob's list of duties will include being a member of the Irondequoit Bay Coordinating Committee, the Irondequoit Bay Technical Staff, and the Monroe County Stormwater Coalition. As a current chairman of the Conservation Board, he will step down from that position and become the town liaison to that group. Bob will work on environmental grants that may be available. Those grants could include water quality grants, tree grants, and stream bank erosion, to name a few. Bob will work on EPOD permits and violations, coastal erosion permits, site plan review, and street tree evaluations. Because our department is so large, Bob will work out of the Operations Center and work on policies and procedures consistent with the union contracts to help the department run smoothly and efficiently. I admire Bob's energy and has been noticed by others in the community by being nominated and receiving the Paul Zefting Award from the Genesee Valley chapter of the American Public Works Association, which recognizes outstanding meritorious achievement of an operational maintenance level employee of a public works agency of a political subdivision. So when he got that award, I even felt better about having Bob as a candidate for this position.
Good. Great. Thanks, Patrick. This is a really good find for the town of Arundecoit, this candidate for this position. I think this is a critical need to fill, and I couldn't be happier that we found a candidate who comes to us with this much experience as a town resident, and I think is going to be a good fit. Does anybody have any other questions or concerns? No. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Motion carried. And Bob Kiley is here. If you'd like to stand up and be recognized. Congratulations.
Item 2A, 2014-6, authorizing attendance at the 2014 FBI National Academy Training Conference. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board approves the training for Chief of Police Richard Tantello at the 2014 FBI National Academy Training at an estimated cost of $1,500.
Motion?
So moved.
And a second? Chief, could you just give us just a brief for folks at home what this conference is about?
Absolutely.
Great, thank you.
The 2014 conference will be held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The conference is a professional course of study for law enforcement leaders to improve the administration of police departments throughout the United States. The initial training that FBI graduates participated occurred in Quantico, Virginia. I had the opportunity of attending that training in 1994 and consists of senior management and leadership training and skill development. The annual training conference provides an opportunity for attendees to build upon this training and expands to contemporary public safety concerns and issues, such as for 2014 cyberbullying, senior management training, the art of perception, wellness training for police officers, terrorism and the debriefing of the Boston Marathon bombing, dealing with trauma-related critical incidents. This also provides an opportunity to network and establish working relationships with other law enforcement resources throughout the area. The ability to interact with other resources has assisted the Arundecoit Police Department greatly in the last few months as we work through some major critical incidents. And we've had the support at the federal level with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the United States Attorney's Office, and the Department of Justice and Federal Probation. At this time, I am the only FBI National Academy graduate at the Arundecoit Police Department, and as we continue to increase our staffing and senior management team, I look forward to supporting additional police officers to attend this very valuable training.
Great. Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Item 2A, 2014-7, authorizing attendance to New York Tactical Training Conference and Expo. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board authorizes Captain Richard Ryan, Sergeant Mark Bean, Officers Tom Fitzak, and Officer Michael McCahey to attend the 2014 New York Tactical Training Conference and Expo at an estimated cost of $1,903.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Second. Okay, and Chief, if you could again just give a brief explanation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The Tactical Officers Association also includes hostage negotiation training. The officers that are recommended to attend are leaders within the emergency response team as well as our hostage negotiators for the Arundecoit Police Department. This also offers a professional opportunity for these members to participate in. It brings together police officers from throughout the state of New York to train and discuss the latest technology and best practices associated with critical incidents. The attendees from the Arundecoit Police Department will then bring back this knowledge and skill set associated with these best practices for the rest of the agency and our personnel. The 2014 training conference training seminars include emerging threat seminar, subject control and physical defense measures, dynamic ballistic shield operations, defensive tactics, hostage negotiator real-world situations, hostage negotiation psychology, and on legal issues updated. The emergency response team and hostage negotiators for the Arundecoyt Police Department have demonstrated a high level of proficiency in these disciplines, and that can be attributed to the dedication they demonstrate in this area, as well as the training that they've had the opportunity to participate in. This team has been called out numerous times in 2013, and I'm very pleased and proud to say that they've performed at an exceptional level, and we've no injuries to report, and every issue has been resolved safely.
That's great. Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that. I think these trainings are important to make sure that our officers and our team have the appropriate resources and training at their disposal to protect themselves and the residents in our town. So thank you for bringing that forward. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Item 2A, 2014-8, authorizing the supervisor to declare certain radio equipment as surplus property and authorizing the surplus to be destroyed. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes the supervisor to declare the radio equipment listed on Addendum A attached hereto as surplus property and authorizes such surplus property to be destroyed.
Is there a motion?
Second.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Item 2A, 2014-9, authorizing the calling of a public hearing in the matter of Consolidated Sewer District Extension for 174 Lake Bluff Road.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Again, this is like the other public hearing resolutions we took up earlier tonight. This is to schedule it's a procedural matter to schedule a public hearing for a matter the board will take up at a following town board meeting. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Item 2A, 2014-10, amending a resolution reappointing Conservation Board members. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Arundecoyt hereby approves the amendment of Resolution Number 2014-021 so that Mr. David Long, Ms. Kimmy Romeo, Mr. David Stoliker, Mr. Charles Valeska, Mr. Jack Kaufman, Mr. Ryan Lawson, Mr. Stephen Greavy serve until their term's expiration date of December 31st, 2015.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
This is to make sure that we bring in line the terms of the Conservation Board members in line with Town Code, which provides for a 2-year term for the members of the Conservation Board. Any other comments or questions? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Item 2A, 2014-11, authorizing the hiring of a construction manager for the town of Arundecoyt. And now therefore be it resolved that the town board approves the hiring of Krista Construction as construction manager for the library project.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm going to just say a few words. This is a significant milestone in the progress and moving forward with our new library. As I said before, the public spoke loud and clear on multiple occasions that we want a new library, deserve a new library, and we can build a state-of-the-art library right here on the Town Hall campus. In order to move that project forward, we have 2 resolutions tonight to help us hire the people we need to hire in order to start the design process and to break ground. The first thing I do want to say is thank the members of the RFP Selection Committee. Again, both of the firms that we're hiring tonight had to go through an extensive request for proposal process and interview in front of the Selection Committee. This was hours and days of long work, research, interviews, and questioning that we really wanted to make sure, again, that when we're expending this much funds on a building and a resource that's going to be here for generations, we wanted to make sure we had nothing but the best advice and the best people working on this project. And the members of the committee were Pat Meredith, Annie Seeley, John Perticone, Laura Smith, and myself. So I do want to thank them for their efforts and for their participation. So that people understand that this first resolution is to hire a construction manager. And a construction manager is responsible for ushering the project through various stages of construction. That includes assembling and helping with the bid packages for time management of the project to make sure that we stay within the project schedule, and for budget management to make sure that this project comes in within budget. This person becomes something of an extension of town hall staff by having a daily presence here on the campus to ensure that our contractors are meeting their obligations. The site here is safe and clean, and that town hall operations are not interrupted. It's important, I think, for the staff here and for the residents of our town that while there is going to be a construction site located right here at the town hall campus, we're a functioning town government and we provide a lot of services to our residents. And so we need to make sure that town hall remains open and accessible to everybody for all the business needs and needs that our residents have with the clerk's office, the DPW department, the police department, the courts, and everything else here on campus. And so that was a high priority of ours to make sure that people are safe, it's clean, and that the town hall is accessible. The selection committee felt very strongly that Krista Construction, and in particular John Radisi, had their level of vast experience to similar projects like this, including dozens of other library projects, building them from ground up, far and away, gave them the qualifications to serve the residents in Irondequoit, the experience of the staff involved, and their understanding of the project, sharing our philosophy of what we want in a new library and how important this library is to our community, and that it's also important that this library be delivered on time and on budget. With that, the committee unanimously recommended to the town board the selection of Krista Construction as a construction manager. Anybody else have a comment or question?
I just wanted to mention that I knew that this was done with sealed bids.
Correct.
And I think that's an important thing for the town people to know. And having a construction manager, I think, really will help us to meet the aggressive construction schedule that we have. And Krista, I really have confidence that they have the ability to do that for us. I feel good about this.
Great.
Yeah.
I'd also like to comment that Mr. Rodisi will be on the premises.
That's correct.
And every day, and that he will be serving as a communication channel for us as a board, as well as interdepartmental. So any questions, we will be there. Thank you.
I'm going to save my comments till the next resolution gets approved as well, so I'll put it together.
I'll wait then, John.
Okay. All right. So all those, any other questions or comments? No? All those in favor of appointing Krista Construction for the construction manager for the new library project signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, nay. Motion carried. Congratulations, John.
Item 2A, 2014-12, authorizing the hiring of architectural services for the town of Irondequoit. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board approves the hiring of Passero Associates as architect for the library project. And be it further resolved that the town board authorizes the supervisor to enter into a contract with Passero Associates to serve as architect for the library project.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, and again, for this resolution, I do want to again just thank the RFP committee. It was the same committee that interviewed both for both positions. So again, it was Pat Meredith, Annie Seeley, John Perticone, and Laura Smith. Again, hours and days reviewing RFP submissions and interviews, and I think we selected nothing but the best for the town of Arundecoit. Passrow comes to us with a vast experience. They're a reputable firm doing much similar projects to ours, and their presentation was above and beyond our expectations. They really came with a vision for the library that I think people in town will like and appreciate. And I also appreciate their willingness to work with residents and participate in our public input session next week, and really take that to heart, what people here want to see in their library, because this is a community asset that we want to make sure that people have input into that. With that, John,
Yeah,
did you want to?
one comment, I think we have to mention too, along with Passrow, Barksome and LaCroix are part of the team as well with Passrow. After a lot of, we know what we've been through the last year. I think you said it right, Adam. These are going to be extensions of employees of the town of Arundecoit. And you know what? Construction managers and design teams are as good as the people that come along with them. And I think we got a great team together with John and Pete Weiner. They're going to be on and drive this project. I've been saying it all along. We have a lot of talent in this town. I think you're going to see that they're going to come through real good with this project. I think that's going to spill over into once the bidding process starts with contractors. But I think the skills and Pete are going to bring to this project are going to be second to none, and we're going to see one heck of a project come on board. It's an aggressive schedule. We've been talking about it. We've had a few meetings over it. I think they're going to deliver it to us, and I think we got a great team on board here that's really going to drive this project, and it's going to be a project that people in this town and community are going to be very proud of.
Thanks, John.
I just real quick, it's nice to look out and see all the supporters and finally know that we're moving forward, and we'll be talking not necessarily what we'd like to see, but what we will now be seeing moving forward. So I think that's a testament to Stephanie and all the friends of the library, to Terry. So congratulations to you. Hopefully we'll have more momentum, and within the next 2 years, it'll be out there for us to look at during these board meetings. And to John Perticone, one way or the other, this library was going to be built if he had to do it on his front lawn. So John really stuck with it, and a testament to Adam. Adam, we really didn't skip a beat during the transition. I think a lot of that has to do with John's leadership on this, but the two of you have worked together to really just in a seamless fashion make sure that this project is moving forward. So congratulations to you, John. You deserve it, and to all the people who support it.
It's been my pleasure, and it's been a lot of work. And again, Dave, I'm glad that you mentioned the library board has a lot to do with this as well. They're a strong team, and nobody was going to stop their vision. I'm telling you right now, nobody was going to stop their vision.
That's right. That's right.
Staring at us right now.
Yeah, right.
Glad they're on our team. That's all I can say.
That's right. That's right. All right.
I guess I'd just like to add that these contracts were thoroughly reviewed by council, so so the public can be trusting of the due diligence that council took. So we feel good about that too.
Yeah, there's a number of hours that went into all these projects. So, yes, and I would be remiss if I also didn't just congratulate John for all his hard work. He's been a fixture at Town Hall almost daily working on this project with us. Same with Stephanie and Terry and the staff. I know the library staff's very excited about this, and all the members of the Friends of the Library who are here today. This is really the result of it must be 16 months, 20 months of work that goes into doing this. And this is really the first, I hate to call it the first step because I know we've been working on it for months, but this is going to be really the first step of actually being able to break ground and start seeing real signs of progress on the library. So with that, all of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Congratulations, Peter.
John Radici, let him stand up.
If Peter Weiner and John Radici could stand just be recognized. Stand up.
All right, you guys.
Item 2A, 2014-13, approving the special event license for Shamrock Jack's Restaurant's annual St. Patrick Day Festival. Now
So-
therefore be it resolved that the town board approves the special event license for Shamrock Jack's Restaurant to conduct their annual St. Patrick's Day Festival on March 15th, March 17th, and 18th.
Motion?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? No? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Should be a fun event that I hope everybody pays attention to. It'll be fun.
Item 2A, 2014-14, authorizing the execution of an equitable sharing agreement and certification. Now therefore be it resolved that the 2013 equitable sharing agreement and certification agreement be approved and submitted to the United States Department of the Treasury for compliance standards.
On a motion?
Second.
Second. This agenda item came before the board here after the workshop due to the necessity of the timing of the contract needing to go to the United States Department of Justice. So I am going to ask the police chief to just give an explanation to the board of what the contract is, and for those folks at home, I know this is a very important program that we have.
This is as a result of asset forfeitures that are processed by the United States Department of Justice and the Department of the Treasury. These funds are distributed to local law enforcement agencies as a result of investigations that are conducted by the federal government and local law enforcement, and then subsequently distributed to local law enforcement agencies. In sum and substance, if a drug-related arrest and the assets associated with that drug activity are investigated and subsequently lead to conviction, the proceeds of that arrest and those assets are subsequently distributed to local law enforcement agencies and communities. With the assistance of the Comptroller's Office and any staff, we were able to complete this document. It's ready for submission to the Department of the Treasury. In 2013, the Arundecoit Police Department was able to receive $26,929.11 in asset forfeiture funds. We did, however, spend $28,213.84. However, those funds were used for a variety of law enforcement pieces of equipment and technology, whether it was crime report software, the leasing of a police vehicle, the auditing services. So the equipment that typically could be charged back, if you will, to a taxpayer was now being able to be purchased with the approval of the United States government to, I don't want to use the word supplement, but subsequently help backfill some of the equipment that was necessary for our operations to continue. So although we spent a little bit more than we received, we also recognize the fact that this will continue to be a very positive experience for us and benefit the entire community and the taxpayers.
Great. Thank you, Chief. Any other questions or comments? No?
I don't know, Chief, we've done this, how many years have we done this? It's a pretty standard thing for us to do?
It is. This is an annual event that we have to submit to the federal government by a particular timeline. They review the report that we submit, and then we get their approval, and then throughout the year, as funds are distributed, they're deposited into the town's account through the assistance of the Comptroller's Office.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. And with that, I think
With
that's
that,
the balance of the... I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, the next workshop meeting will be March 13th, and the next regular town board meeting will be March 20th.
Okay. All right, and that's the end of the agenda. Just want to thank all the town staff and department heads for all their work on the agenda items and resolutions for this meeting, and everybody who was involved. Much thanks to everyone, and with that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
You can't do that.
John? Well, moved by Mr. Sealy and a second by Mr. Perdigone. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
We got our meeting.
enjoyed this presentation of the Irondequoit Town Board on ICAT 12, Irondequoit's Government Access Channel.